Being a music commentary channel on YouTube sounds awesome, right? You get to talk about albums you love, discover obscure bands, and connect with other music nerds who care about weird band trivia as much as you do. But there's one specific aspect of it that makes me want to throw my PC in the garbage and listen to music by myself and share it with nobody. And that thing is robotic copyright police. But before we get into that, let's get some much needed context out of the way. This YouTube channel started as an audio-only podcast in 2022. Even though I primarily only post new content here on YouTube, I decided to leave that old podcast on audio platforms for people to check out if they wanted to listen to my old back catalog. As you probably have gathered from the first few seconds of this video, I do music commentary. So sometimes that looks like deep diving entire albums or giving histories of bands and things like that. And due to the nature of what I talk about, I will sometimes provide short clips of the music that I'm discussing in order to more easily demonstrate my praise or criticisms. It's the sort of thing that has existed in podcasts and YouTube since their inception. And back whenever I was only posting to Spotify and Apple Music, neither platform seemed to have any issue with this. And I wasn't the only person who was doing this, and it didn't seem to be any kind of a big deal to anyone. I also want to make the distinction here that I'm talking about short clips, like less than 30 seconds, not reaction videos where the entire song is played, although I personally do enjoy some reaction videos and I watch way too many of them every week. Like, I personally think all of that is fine. But in my experience in uploading to YouTube specifically, I got kind of a trial and error crash course on what I could and could not do in my videos. My first 3 or so videos got copyright claims put on them almost instantly. Now, a copyright claim isn't as terrifying as a copyright strike. It just means that YouTube's automated processes found a waveform in my video that matched a publicly copyrighted work. And like a hall monitor with too much power, another automated process sends a message about my video to the copyright holder. Then the copyright holder gets to decide whether they want to either let it go, or if they want to claim all of or part of the money that's made from this video, which the joke is on them because I make about as close to zero on these videos as you can get without it actually being zero. Or they can decide to issue a copyright strike. Now, thankfully, most of the time the copyright holder just wants a portion of the revenue of the video. That being said, it's often an automated process that decides whether or not to strike or claim a video. Like, they kind of just set it and forget it, right? And the bigger company the copyright holder is, the more likely they are to have some kind of automated decision-making algorithm in place whenever they get these kinds of notices from YouTube. The reason YouTube does this is because they absolutely do not want to be held responsible for something stupid that I randomly decide to put in one of my videos, which is, kind of understandable. At this point, though, you might be thinking, Dan, what about fair use? Well, I'll get to that next, but first, I want to take this time to invite you guys to sign up for my email list on Substack. And why an email list? Well, it's simple. If YouTube decides that it doesn't like the tone of this video, or it doesn't like another video that I make in the future, or one that maybe I posted years ago and forgot all about, they can just move in and delete my channel without consulting me first. Then, how would you guys get a hold of me? It might seem simple, right? Like, think about it. Maybe you could find me on social media, but even if you already follow me on Instagram or Facebook, those social media platforms only show my posts to a very small percentage of my followers. So if my main channel goes down, I want to be able to reach out to you guys to let you know what's going on with me. And the simplest way to do that is through an email list. I send the email, you get the email. Whether you open it or not, it doesn't really matter, but I can sleep better at night knowing that whenever I send you an update that you at least received it. So if you guys do want to sign up for the mailing list, there's a link down in the description of this video where you can sign up for it. So now let's talk about fair use. Now, I feel compelled to tell you that I am not a lawyer, and I am not and will not be giving you legal advice here. I just want to talk about what fair use is and how it applies to what I'm talking about here. Fair use, as I understand it, is a legal defense that you can potentially use in the case of being sued by a copyright holder. Fair use analyzes how we used the copyrighted material that we put in our video, and it determines if the usage was fair or not. And it asks how much of the copyrighted material was used, it asks if we transformed it in some way, and it asks if the copyrighted work was shared as part of a review or commentary. And these are wonderful questions to ask, and I'm going to go back to this point a little bit later. The thing I see a lot of YouTubers and podcasters say is that their show or channel falls under fair use, but I want to clarify that a legal defense is not the same thing as a law. You can't just state that your use of copyrighted material is fair use and right off into the sunset. Trust me, I wish that it was that easy, but that introduces the next problem. Automated processes are not humans. And that might sound like a really obvious statement, but it's pretty much the core of what I'm getting at here. An automated process or algorithm is designed only to do a few things. In this particular case, it's there to detect copyrighted content in videos or podcasts and report that fair use to copyright holders. The automated process does not care at all about fair use. It doesn't even know what fair use means. When I upload a video, it instantly checks for uses of copyrighted material. It takes less than a minute for it to scan my video to find anything. And the technology has gotten so advanced, in fact, that most of it just takes place autonomously with minimal or no human effort at all. And that's mostly my complaint. Last month, I got an email from Spotify telling me that it detected copyrighted material in my old podcast episodes. And it was because of the music clips that I used specifically, those less than 30-second clips for episodes that were 30 to 40 minutes long each. And like YouTube, Spotify just doesn't want to be on the hook for what I choose to upload. Now, I do have the option to go through every single usage of copyrighted material over 3 podcast seasons to justify my usage. I can state that it's for fair use or that it's for review, and that'll make the emails and notifications go away for the time being. The issue, though, is that last year I got the same email from Spotify threatening to take my podcast down, and I went through each usage of copyrighted material and chose my justification option. But evidently this was not good enough. The thing is that's not just Spotify being mean to me or saying that they don't believe me. The reason is so much dumber than that. It's because they probably just upgraded to a new automated process that does not remember or care what I did or said last year. Its job is just to detect copyrighted material, and it sends the notification. And instead of wasting an hour of my life justifying myself to an automated process, I just contacted Spotify support and told them to go ahead and remove the podcast from their platform. You can still listen to it on other, better podcast platforms, but I was just like, I don't have time to play this game with Spotify anymore. But unfortunately, I can't really do the same thing with YouTube because YouTube is my bread and butter. So you might also be wondering, how do YouTubers get away with it then, right? How does my channel exist at all? How do reaction channels exist? And they exist because they play the game by appealing copyright claims and strikes. And believe me, I have to do this on nearly every video that I make. It's really annoying and frustrating because the ball is never in my court, even if I'm totally right. Most of the time, I'm talking to an automated process. I'm not talking to a real person. And even if it did escalate to the point where it made it to court, I could be totally right. I could win the court case, but in my personal case, I'm not a big enough deal to afford some amazing lawyer in defense. And they know that. These bigger companies know that we will usually comply out of fear of litigation. That's just how it is. But that's a whole different issue for a different video that maybe I'll talk about in the future. Sometimes, though, it's just easier to take the copyright claim in a hope that people sign up for your Patreon. And that is the thing that sucks about the niche that I chose when I started making content. There aren't any human beings that are upset or complaining about my limited usage of copyrighted material. I'm really not that big of a deal to be on anybody's radar. The only reason I'm being harassed by this stuff at all is because the process is automated. Because here's the thing, I'm more than willing to comply with the reasonable request of another human being. Like if a band or copyright holder reached out to me and said, hey man, we're really not cool with how you used our song on this. I think most of them wouldn't. I actually have never experienced that, but I mean, I'm sure it's possible. And if it were to happen, I would be more than happy to comply with another human being that has a reasonable request. But it's exhausting to spend more of my time justifying my existence to automated processes than I actually spend listening to the music that I talk about. So why do I do it? Because I love music that much. I still want people to know about obscure bands or albums. I can't help it. It's part of me. And I still want people to feel that nostalgia when they come to my channel. the fight just sucks. And I just wanted to make a video complaining about how much it sucks, because I think a lot of people can relate to what I'm feeling here. So if you're out there analyzing music and you're combating the algorithm and dodging copyright bots and still making meaningful content, I just want you to know that what you're doing has meaning and it has value, and I appreciate it. And if this video has made you feel seen, drop a like, leave a comment with your YouTube horror story, and subscribe for more deep dives, reviews, and occasional rants like this one. I'll see you guys next time.